What's up, SNEaKyNation? Sneaky P here with all of my predictions for week number 2 in the 2019 NFL season. But before I jump into my week 2 predictions, let's go back and check out how I did in week number 1. Packers and Bears kicked off the season. I thought the Bears were going to get this victory, but they did not look good at all. The Packers really didn't look good either. Neither team looked good. I wonder how much the Bears not playing any starters in the preseason came back to haunt them in this one, because they definitely looked rusty. I really was confused by Matt Nagy's play calling in this as well. I don't know that the Packers really won this game. I mean, they did. They got the win, but I just don't think either team really took advantage of what they could have been doing. But, you know, the Packers were going up against a very good Bears defense too, so I'm sure that played a factor on their end. Bears, though, just did not look good. But I start off the season 0-1 here. Next game, Rams and Panthers. I talked about thinking this could be a pretty close game, and it actually was. The Rams were going to get the victory like I predicted, but it was definitely a hard-fought battle. But 1-1 on the season for me. Eagles and the Redskins. This game was actually closer, and for a good while it really looked like the Redskins were going to win this game, but the Eagles kind of got their act together. They just came back and ended up pulling through in the clutch. So they are going to get the victory here, but the Redskins didn't look that bad. 2-1 so far on the season for me. Jets and the Bills. I thought the Jets would win this, and the only reason I chose them was I was giving them the edge with the home field advantage, really. If this were in Buffalo, I think I said I would have picked Buffalo. Maybe I didn't say that. I don't know. But anyway, I knew this would be an interesting game. And the Jets were on top 16-0, I believe, in the fourth quarter. They choked away the win, and the Bills scored 17 in the fourth. So the Bills got the victory, I got the loss, and I fall to 2-2 on the season. Next game, we have the Vikings and the Falcons. I did predict this game right. Vikings ended up getting a 28-12 victory. So 3-2 on the season for me. Easily got this one right. Ravens and the Dolphins. I picked the Ravens. 4-2 on the season so far. Chiefs and Jags. I got this one right as well. 5-2. Browns and the Titans. I got this one all kinds of wrong. Browns just looked very much like the Browns of old, not the Browns that have been hyped up all offseason long. So I was very wrong in this. 5-3 for me. I did have the Chargers winning this, so 6-3. It was actually a really close game. It went to overtime, which shocked me on that. But the Chargers are going to come out on top. So 6-3. Seahawks and the Bengals. This was another close game, but once again, I did get it right. 7-3 on the season. 49ers over the Buccaneers. 8-3. A little bit of momentum going on now. I had the Cowboys over the Giants as well, so 9-3. I did have the Lions beating the Cardinals. They tied the game. I don't even know if I can select a tie, but even if I could, I wouldn't, obviously, and I wouldn't have picked it here. I thought the Lions were going to win. I guess that's a loss, so 9-4 since I didn't choose a tie. But the Lions really choked this away, man. They should have had that. Patriots are going to win this one, so 10-4 on the season for me. Saints are going to win a very crazy game, man. That was unbelievable. But the Saints are going to come through in the end with Drew Brees. So 11-4, I believe, is what I am. And then I had the Broncos winning this. I was wrong. So 11-5 for me in week number 1. Let me know how you guys did. I know a lot of you guys either left your predictions here in the comments, or I got a few over on Twitter. Let me know your thoughts, guys. What did y'all do in week number 1? And let's go ahead and jump into week number 2. Tonight, we got the Carolina Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucs did not look good at all in week number 1. The Panthers played pretty well against the Rams, but Cam Newton didn't look great. I'm a little bit concerned on that. The Bucs appear to have a pretty good run defense right now. I don't know how much that's going to stop Christian McCaffrey, though, who's just amazing, especially out of the backfield receiving the ball. I think that's really going to play a big factor for the Panthers in this one. And Panthers are at home. They don't want to start off the season 0-2. I think that's a little bit of extra motivation, and I think that's going to happen with a few teams this week. But I'm going to go ahead and select the Panthers here at home in this one. Cardinals and the Ravens. Going to go with the Ravens pretty easily. Ravens defense is a lot better than the Lions defense is. And really, the Cardinals offense did not look good until the end of the game. I don't know that they're going to have a lot of success against this Ravens team, especially being on the road. We're going to go Ravens here. Cowboys and the Redskins. This one is actually tougher than I feel like a lot of people are going to think for me, because the Cowboys looked very, very good in week number 1. Granted, they were going against the Giants, and I'm trying to take that into consideration because the Redskins defense is a lot better than the Giants defense, but also Dak Prescott looked amazing in week number 1, and maybe he's just improved, and this is the brand new Dak Prescott that he's just going to be from now on, but his career thus far has not proven that to be the case, so I wouldn't be shocked to see more of a down game from him. Ultimately, though, I really do not have enough faith in the Redskins offense, and that's why I'm going to take the Cowboys on the road. But I would not be shocked to see the Redskins get a victory here, especially because they looked pretty good in week number 1 against a team I feel like a lot of people view as better in the Eagles. But they did choke away that victory, so who knows. All right, Colts and the Titans. Titans looked amazing in week 1, but I think that was more the Browns just having a bad game than it was the Titans being an amazing team. The Colts actually looked a lot better than in week 1 than I think a lot of people thought. Taking the Chargers to overtime, you know, out there on the road is a pretty impressive game, I would say. I want to go with the Titans, though. They do have a pretty good defense. They're going to be at home in this one. I think they got some momentum going on. So I want to take the Titans here. But, I don't know, man. Colts look better than I thought they would in week 1. Seahawks and the Steelers. This is one of 2 games that's going to be really, really tough for me to call. And the Steelers looked absolutely horrible in week 1. But they were on the road in Foxborough. That's not an easy game at all. And I think the Steelers were embarrassed. And I think they're going to be set. They're going to set out to really prove a point here in week number 2. The Seahawks, on the other hand, they got a victory in week 1. But they didn't look very good doing it. They had a few turnovers that really kind of saved them. Otherwise, the Bengals might have been able to get that victory. It was a really close game. They were at home for it. So I'm actually going to go with the Steelers here. But I could definitely see this going either way. I'm kind of on the fence about that. Bills and the Giants. And Giants obviously did not look good at all in week 1. Bills got a victory on the road against the Jets. They didn't look particularly good doing it. Really, it all came in the 4th quarter that they really picked up their pace. The first 3 quarters, they looked absolutely terrible. But I don't think the Giants' defense is as good as the Jets. But I don't really have faith in Josh Allen either. I am going to take the Bills on the road in this one, though, just because I like the Bills' defense a little bit more. And, I don't know, man. Saquon can go off and carry the Giants to a victory here. I could see this going either way, but I'm going to go with the Bills. 49ers and the Bengals. I'm going to take the Bengals at home here. I'm not going to talk too much about this because I'm actually going to be doing another video where I go more in depth about my thoughts and a preview of this game before the game actually happens on Sunday. So stay tuned for that video. Right now, I'm just going to say the Bengals are going to win, but otherwise, I'll leave it at that. Chargers and the Lions. Going to go with the Chargers on the road. Yeah, Lions did not look good in week number 1. Losing that, well, not losing, but tying the game against the Cardinals never should have happened. They should have won that game easily, and the Chargers are just a much better team. Vikings and the Packers. I'm actually going to go with the Vikings on the road in this game. It's always tough to win in Lambeau, especially when Aaron Rodgers is on the other side of the field, but I really wasn't impressed by the Packers in week 1. Matt LaFleur's a new coach. You know, I'm sure he's actually going to get better at play calling and stuff like that, and we might actually see this offense do more. They're not going up against the Bears defense this time, but the Vikings have a good defense as well. Packers defense does look much improved here, but ultimately I think the Vikings just have too many weapons, so I'm going to take the Vikings on the road. We'll see what happens, though. That could go either way. Jags and the Texans. Going to take the Texans at home. They ended up losing in week number 1, but they looked really good. Minshew actually looked really good for the Jags, but I just don't know that you're going to get another amazing game like that from him. And even with the game that he had, you know, they still were unable to get the victory, right? So, granted, they were going against the Chiefs. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Texans kind of impressed me in week number 1. I'm going to stick with them here at home. Patriots and the Dolphins. This is probably the toughest call for me this week because the Dolphins always beat the Patriots. No, I'm kidding, dude. I'm going to go with the Patriots. I know the Dolphins have a history of beating the Patriots like once a year, but no, this Dolphins team has zero interest in winning. I said that last week. I said that I think it's the first time I've ever seen an NFL team decide to tank. And I'm pretty sure that was confirmed with their Week 1 performance. We're going to go the Patriots here on the road. Chiefs and the Raiders. Going to take the Chiefs on the road. I just think they're a better team is what it really comes down to. So Chiefs on the road. Saints and the Rams. A rematch of the NFC Championship game last year. Hopefully we have better refs for this one. This is obviously a game I can see going either way. I said earlier there was 2 games that I was really on the fence about. I mean, there's others I could see going either way, but there's 2 that were really tough calls, and this is the other one. I am going to go with the Saints on the road, though, and this might come back to haunt me, but that's kind of what I'm feeling at the moment. I don't know, man. I think they're going to be super pissed about last year. Not that I think the Rams aren't going to like come into this game motivated. Of course they are. It's their first home game as well, but I'm going to go with the Saints, man. The Rams didn't overly impress me in their Week 1 performance. Maybe that's just being on the road, being on the East Coast, which is not an easy thing to do, but I don't know. I feel more comfortable with the Saints in this. Bears and the Broncos. Going to go with the Bears. I think they're going to rebound and get a victory. I don't think they're going to start off the season 0-2, especially after losing a game that I thought they were going to win against the Packers, but we're going to go the Bears here in a Vic Fangio rematch against his former team. Eagles and the Falcons. I'm actually going to take the Falcons at home in this one. I could see this. I could see the Eagles winning this. I do think the Eagles are the more talented team. But the Falcons are going to be at home. I don't think the Falcons have any plans to start the season 2-0 or 0-2. I talked about how I think that little extra motivation, being at home, not wanting to start 0-2 when they're not a bad team. I think ultimately the Falcons are going to win this. Eagles still have to prove to me they can be consistent right now. They really didn't look very good in their Week 1 victory against the Redskins. They did have that great second half, but falling down the way they did to begin with wasn't a good look. They did rebound well. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see them win. I think they're the better team, but I'm going to pick the Falcons in this one. And then Browns and the Jets. We're going to go with the Browns on the road here. I don't think they're as bad as they looked in Week 1. I really think it was just a bad game. Jets, even if the Browns were to play a bad game against the Jets, I think the Browns would probably win. If you need an example of that, look at the Buffalo Bills in Week 1. So we're going to take the Browns here. But I'm picking a lot of away games, which has me a little bit nervous. But I would love to hear from you guys. How did you guys do with your Week 1 predictions, and what are your Week 2 predictions? Let's run with this throughout the season, man. Kind of see how everybody does. I think it'd be a lot of fun. 11-5 for me in Week 1. Here are my Week 2 predictions, and again, I'm going to go in further detail on my thoughts and a preview for the San Francisco 49ers versus the Cincinnati Bengals, so stay tuned for that video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.